He laughed at a disabled old woman, mocked her limp, accused her of faking it. Everyone froze. Nobody stood up for her that day. But what he didn't know was that 7 years later, the quiet retail worker he ignored would become his personal nightmare. Ticket after ticket, fine after fine, until karma finally caught up with him. If you've ever wished that bullies, scammers, or arrogant jerks would finally get what they deserve, then you're in the right place. Welcome back to the Payback Room, where real people serve real justice. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready. This revenge story is one for the books. Years ago, our storyteller worked in retail, a new store. Fresh paint, shiny floors, and endless customers. Most days were routine. Some were even pleasant, especially when a kind elderly lady came by. The kind of person who could brighten your whole shift just by smiling. She had a blue disability badge, always parked in the disabled bay, always kind to the staff. But one morning everything changed. She pulled in, but this time she was on crutches, her leg in a cast. Still, she carried herself with dignity. As she stepped out of her car, a work truck pulled up. No badge, no care. Out came a builder in his early 40s with his teenage kid, and then the confrontation happened. With a voice that was polite but firm, the elderly lady pointed out that the space was for disabled drivers only. The builder smirked, then unleashed a wave of cruelty. He accused her of faking her disability, claimed her cast was a prop, and mocked her limp with an exaggerated, theatrical limp of his own. His teenage kid laughed along. She stood there, humiliated and speechless. And our storyteller? He froze. He wanted to speak, to defend her, but fear held him back. He asked the manager later to take action, but they didn't care. The moment burned into his memory like a scar. For 7 long years, he saw that builder regularly. Same arrogant face, same oversized blue Mercedes, same bad parking, always in disabled bays, always without a badge. Every time he saw that car, the memory of that cruel mockery played like a broken record. He couldn't forget. He wouldn't forget. Then one day, everything changed. The store introduced a digital parking ticketing system. No external company, no paper tickets, just a handheld device for employees to scan and fine violators. And guess who worked at the front of the store with a perfect view of the parking lot? That's right, him. For the first time in 7 years, he had the power to hold this man accountable. It started quietly. One day he saw the Mercedes pull into the disabled bay again. No badge. As usual, heart pounding. He grabbed the machine, snapped photos, entered the car details, and sent the report. Fine, $80. But that was just the beginning, because these fines took weeks to arrive, and the builder kept parking there oblivious. He fined him again, and again, and again, dozens of times, each time imagining the man's face as he opened his mail to find another penalty. And then, something miraculous happened. The Mercedes stopped parking in disabled bays. But scum is scum. The builder simply moved to child parking spaces, which were limited and meant for parents with kids. No child seats. No kids, no shame. Our storyteller knew the car by heart now. He gleefully skipped to the machine, filed tickets, took pictures of the empty back seat, and sent them off. More fines. More frustration for the builder. Eventually, the Mercedes disappeared from child and disabled spaces. Had he finally learned? Of course not. Now he started parking over the lines, taking 2 bays or squeezing into taxi spots, and guess what? That broke Rule 3, park inside a marked bay. Every wheel slightly over the line meant another 80, week after week. Our quiet retail worker became this man's invisible nemesis. By the end, the builder had racked up thousands of pounds in fines. Even if he fought them, he had to waste hours in paperwork, calls, and appeals. Years later, the storyteller walked through the parking lot and saw him, red-faced, screaming at some random high-vis worker, accusing him of being the one who'd issued all the fines. It was a perfect, poetic moment. Karma had struck, silently, relentlessly. Sometimes justice doesn't come instantly. Sometimes it simmers quietly, waiting for the right moment. And when it finally strikes, it's sweeter than ever. That builder thought he could mock someone vulnerable and walk away. But karma had other plans. If this story gave you chills, Smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe to the Payback Room for more stories like this every week. Because sometimes revenge is served cold, with a parking ticket.